Radio.
Absolute Radio.
Good morning, this is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio. I hope Anton Ferdinand got that hand buzzer I sent him.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
Good morning, this is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio. I'm with Emily Dean and with Alan Cochrane. You can text us on 81215. Or you can follow us on Twitter using @Frank on Absolute. Now, can I start, before we go any further, by saying I was shocked, horrified and upset by the topless photographs. I think it's disgusting.
Yeah.
I'm talking, of course, about the new Cliff Richard calendar, which is previewed in the papers this morning.
Lovely.
How old is Cliff? 72.
I'll tell you. Well, he says I'm making 70 the new 50.
Yeah.
If I was 72, I think I'd be bringing my calendars out a month at a time. Like the game-by-game contract that players prone to injury sometimes take up.
I think he looks smoking hot.
He's got good abs. He's got a much better body than I have. Let me make that absolutely clear. The face, I could, I don't know if I'd swap for the face, but you've
got a better face.
Yeah, the face looks... It seems to be the same face on every picture, so I'm thinking he maybe had one when he thinks, I only look about 70 on that. We'll use that and just move it about a bit. But
it's lots of, dishy younger men wearing those face masks that you see sometimes in football matches.
Oh, God, what if it was that? I'm just looking for elastic.
Frank, can I just say, I'm not sure about a gold trouser in a Caribbean location, though.
No. Well, I think that's good. I think it reflects the sunlight and keeps everything cool downstairs.
Mm-hmm. I like the one where he's on the jet ski. It's got a touch of the Vladimir Putin about it. You know when he catches fish or goes scuba diving or something.
Yeah, Mussolini used to do that.
Right.
Any photograph, Mussolini photo opportunity, he'd take his shirt off. And Putin has taken exactly the same. It says Mussolini, Putin and Cliff Richard.
Yeah, the big three.
Yeah, exactly. That'd be a great pub quiz question. What have they got in common? Yeah, he looks... he does look amazing.
He does.
Yeah.
He does.
And
slim. Very slim.
He says in the accompanying interview, which I think is almost Pulitzer Prize winning, some of the stuff they've got out of him.
It's on the long list, certainly.
Yeah. Cliff says, I'm never going to be Arnold Schwarzenegger. And I can't argue with that.
No, I think he doesn't believe in coming back, Cliff.
No.
No, he's not a Buddhist.
But guess what? This doesn't happen by chance, these abs. He says, when I know my calendar is coming up, I go to the gym for about 3 months before, every other day. So let that be a lesson to you boys.
They can do that in 3 months. That's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, and they can make your hair that colour as well.
Of course, if ever there was a man who doesn't need love handles, it's Cliff Richard. Enjoying neither love nor being handled in any way.
No, that's a nice friend that he lives with.
Well, I think he's
they're friends?
I know. Does he live with anyone?
He does.
I thought he just lived with his record collection. No, I met Cliff. He was. He's a nice fella.
He calls him his property manager.
Yeah.
There we go.
I love an elaborate euphemism. No, brilliant. Of course, it means a very low-profile character. In the old days, to finish a gig, he wouldn't be off with, he wouldn't be around with fans and all that. And
he was off with his property manager.
He just used to slip into the shadows. So, what else? What else is going on today? Well, what about Kate?
Yeah.
We should talk about Kate, shouldn't we?
We should really.
Let's call her our Princess of Hearts.
Shall we?
Yeah.
You could start something there.
Yeah, that'd be good, I think. What did you think? What did you think, Amy? You're a lady.
Do you want me to give a review of what I think of?
I thought you to talk about her actual...
Oh, okay.
No, I just...
What can I say?
Do you think it's bad, or...?
Oh, I think it's disgraceful. But I do think... I was surprised she was what I call a roof-down girl. I didn't think she'd be that kind of girl.
Well, I think, one has to sacrifice many things when you become a member of the royal family, and I thought one of them might be topless sunbathing.
Yes, I think you could be right.
Because what you get back is not bad. Someone said to me, topless sunbathing, but here's a palace, and you never have to work again. I know where I'd opt. Actually, I'd work. Obviously, I'd still come here. But
Yeah.
I wouldn't come here topless like I normally do.
You could walk it, though, from the palace.
No, I'd come by... I'd love to arrive with one of them golden coaches outside,
Oh, yeah,
four
that'd be
horses
good.
on a Saturday morning.
Oh,
That'd be, because you'd be sitting in and you'd hear, oh, here comes Frank.
oh, and then it'd be Shep pulling it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm afraid Shep is no longer with us.
I know.
Wish you hadn't brought that up. Oh, God, I can feel that. Can you hear that on my chest?
Welling up over it.
Yeah, we need to decide about this, though, because I'm concerned about it. I'll be straight with you.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
Frank, meanwhile, over at a villa, a certain lady has been sunbathing. Can I just say, Daisy, the producer, gave her opinion just now. It wasn't asked for, but, nevertheless. She said, I think it's really nice. It means they still fancy each other, because she's sunbathing topless. I said, with my slightly more bitter worldview, no, actually, because I think that's a very bad sign. I think it's all gone wrong. The fact that she can lie there naked and he's not jumping on her and doesn't see her in a sexual way.
Wow. I mean, he's a member of the royal family. A certain decorum observed at all times. I think
They've got traditions in that department.
I
as
think
well.
they have it. They do, definitely. I think we had a text to say that she wasn't sunbathing at all.
We had 642 texted in saying she was changing, not sunbathing, but
I don't.
provided
That's
no
not.
secondary evidence.
Bear in
to
mind,
go
there's
with it.
7 or 8 photographs. Some of them she's just sitting there, so I don't think that's correct. I'm not saying I've gone on the internet and looked at them, but why are they so blurry? I'd kill for all my photos in the press to be that blurry. If I appeared in the press, I think, wearing just a small pair of briefs,
Oh, God.
the only
Again.
thing I'd get is brochures from Swiss death clinics. But, I mean, everyone said there's a lot of hypocrisy and all this lot because they blah, blah. There is, I must say, what really upset me was that the same paper refused my pictures of Catherine Jenkins beheading a goat, which I had on a secret camera. So, all this talk of bad taste then and, invasion of her privacy. And now...
Did they think you were kidding?
That's absolutely tremendous.
Thank you.
I just
It's
got
absolutely
it.
tremendous and no buts. No, you see, I do. I think I like the way he's got angry on her behalf. Like
It's made him quite sexy.
Yeah.
yeah,
I
Yeah.
can see that.
because I was looking at the pictures, thinking, for God's sake, William, put a hat on. You'll burn.
One of those
burn
floppy
to
sun
pieces. Yeah, anything,
Like Manny
to,
from the
anything
Stone
to
Roses.
cover the patch. At least get
Oh.
some factor 28 on that ball pack.
He should have a
did.
little basebot cap.
He should. There should be a man
Oh,
who does
but-
that.
But
Yeah.
people,
Give me a hat.
there's a thing.
Jackson, get me a hat! Jackson! Not a crown!
Jackson.
Not a crown! That's the worst thing I need, a crown! Give me a hat, Jackson! It covers the... Not a clown! Prince William on holiday there.
He can't wear a baseball cap, though.
I
Rich
love that he
people can't
turned
wear
into
baseball
Richard
caps.
III.
Oh, that's how he talks. Oh,
No,
poor
he needs to wear a baseball cap.
No,
That's a bit Johnny
no.
Bryant. Google
No.
him.
But
No,
really
I
rich
remember
people
Johnny
can't.
Bryant was the one who
Really rich
stopped
people
Fergie's
can't.
toes.
He can't.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's the weird thing, isn't it? That, like, it is an invasion of privacy, and you think, well, and she was only sat in a sunbathing. She wasn't sucking toes.
Or
anything,
changing, one of the two. I think
Or
she's
changing.
sunbathing and changing. There's a bit where she's sort of leaping up, taking off her top, like
Extraordinary.
You know when you see Superman leaving the phone box, and there's still remains of his shirt and suit falling away from him. It
Yeah,
was like
yeah.
that, like there'd been an emergency in a nearby town, and she'd said, "Hold on a minute, it's time for topless, princess," and she'd got into her outfit and off she'd flown.
Yeah.
It was quite exciting. When I say exciting, I mean disgusting.
Yeah.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We were talking about our Princess of Hearts being caught out by the evil paparazzi in the bushes. And
Wasn't it just one rogue Frenchman, they reckon?
Was it a Frenchman?
Yeah,
we don't know that. Do we know that for sure?
They think it was a rogue Frenchman. I don't know why I keep saying that, but apparently it was a mile away. The place.
Wow, what? A
From
mile?
the chateau. It's amazing what they can do now, isn't it?
Oh, see, the whole. I'm having one of my technology moments.
I must
there.
say that out loud about 4 times a week. It's amazing what they can do now.
Yeah.
But this
see,
is
my
one
favourite is what will they think of next?
Oh, really?
Yeah. And people around me think it's a rhetorical question, and it isn't. I'm actually trying to find out what they think of next, so I can buy into it.
Yeah, now that Tomorrow's World isn't on the telly anymore,
exactly.
you're
And,
just asking.
And I've sacked my personal advisors for finance. I'm trying to find out what they actually will come up with next. Obviously, I sacked them because they broke me. They broke me like one might break a twig on a riverbank.
Oh,
So,
God, I find that awkward.
But I did like the fact that William got angry.
Yes, I did.
That's what you want. That suggests
Slightly
that,
macho and
looking.
protective,
There's
isn't
something about the prince looking after his princess.
It was very hot.
And
Yeah.
to sue someone, which the royal family never
Practically
does.
I reckon
unheard
he
of.
broke crockery. I reckon he.
Do you think?
I reckon he threw some at.
I heard he put
Ferguson's
3
dad.
servants in hospital. He was so angry.
Even-
he beat 2
even
up and he
Jackson.
made one jump off a balcony.
Even Jackson.
Even Jackson, his beloved Jackson.
No, Jackson fled. He's changed his tune though, because if you remember that famous
Jackson?
no, Jackson always sticks to the same tune, and it is truly subservience. But he famously. Kate appeared in a fashion show, didn't she, at St Andrews University, in that see-through frock. I mean, she had things covered up, but and he said to a friend, "Wow, Fergus, Kate's hot."
Is that right?
Yeah, he's changed his tune quite a bit, and now it's basically, I'd say, in a judicial format, it's "Are you looking at my missus?" is the new approach that he's taken on.
Yes.
You looking at my missus?
He's gone a bit Birmingham man.
He has, yeah, which is obviously always a good thing. But it'll be good to see how that pans out, I think. Yes.
Oh yeah.
Pans out. I feel like I'm going through the papers on Sky News.
Yeah.
Be good to see how that pans out. Dave, you found an interesting story in the Telegraph. What was that? What?
See, I
said you found an interesting. What? Oh, going to the advert. Oh. There you go.
I think I remember when people started suing each other. I remember it in the playground, people saying, in America, someone sued McDonald's because their coffee was hot, and I remember.
No, tell you what it used to be. It used to be those Apple turnover things.
Oh, yeah,
Somebody
yes.
bit one of those, and
Yes, that was more our era.
It took
the
the
Apple
bottom
turnovers.
part of
Right.
their face away.
Yes, you're
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
Frank.
Yeah. So remember that.
Part of the face.
People didn't.
I think it was tied in with the Phantom of the Opera story at our school.
Isabelle Dinoir.
Yeah, this bloke had one of those hot apple turnovers, and he had to live like in the bowels of the earth underneath an opera house.
Oh, do you know?
Kidnap people.
That's making my stomach go now. That apple, I'd love one of those apple
very
turnovers
sweet.
now.
We'll get you one.
I
Hold on a minute.
can't.
Hello. I forgot I've got headphones on. That really hurt.
Well, we don't do a lot of slapstick
feel-
on this show,
I
but
feel like a batsman who's had a bouncer in the grid. You know, I haven't been physically struck by it, but the reverberations are going round and round my head.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Yes, we had a text about.
we did. We had a text saying, Frank, what worries me most about the photos of the princess is that it could have been someone hiding undetected with a gun, not a camera.
Good point. It's a
They
good
must
point.
have been watching them for quite a while. Well, you say it's a good point.
That's from
but
Julie in Birmingham.
I'm not sure we're the people to bring this security-based point to.
Well, no, I shall action that.
And also,
Action it.
I don't think from a mile away, I think you can afford to be a little bit less accurate with a long lens camera than a rifle.
No, that was no grassy knoll he was on.
No, but from a mile away, he could have had a scud. What about that? My first thought when I saw it was, from that. What if he'd have had one of those red laser key rings?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
It could
yeah.
have made her look right stupid, dancing from nipple to nipple.
Frank?
Yeah, well, I've always felt that Hitler would not have taken over Germany if those red laser key rings existed then, because he'd have done those big dramatic speeches and people have been dancing around on his face in one of those. People thought he was just an idiot, that bloke. That bloke with the red squiggly bits, forget about it. That's my theory. So this week,
Yeah.
I've been doing a bit of team writing.
Oh, lovely.
Writing sort of
For West Brom?
Yeah. Yeah, we've written an entire midfield.
Oh.
Now, sort of writing jokes as a team with some other guys for for a television
Sort of
thing.
the writing room.
Yeah, it's a strange experience. Because I'm a bit of a lone wolf when it comes to writing jokes normally, so it's it can be quite tense in there.
I can imagine.
You know, you come up with a joke you think's the best idea you've ever had in your life, and there's just a terrible silence.
Oh, that's not good.
It is awkward, and then you just have to go. So, or we could. Oh God! I have a method which not everyone finds less worrying. I always, if they say a joke I'm not that keen on, I'll say, yeah, it's a bit of an Elton John.
Oh.
And which means it's a little bit funny.
Oh. Do you explain this to them beforehand?
Oh, I know. The first time I do it, actually. I say it. I wait till the first time I say it. So I say, that's a bit of an Elton John. They say, what do you mean? And I'll say, it's a little bit funny. Little bit. And then there's another terrible awkwardness. And on we move. Though there was one brilliant moment. You know, there's a recurring joke that I do, that if someone, like if you said to me, do you know Vanessa May? I'd say, no, but thanks for the tip.
Well, it doesn't work with everyone, that.
No, but it works with anyone called May.
Okay.
And also, there are other versions. Do you know
Brian and Vanessa.
Yeah, Brian, Vanessa, and Teresa.
Oh, yeah.
And do you know Victoria Wood? No, but thanks for the tip.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that have got those surnames.
Yeah, so we were sitting in the writing room, and who should walk past but James May from...
Oh, Frank.
And I just turned to the bloke next to me and said, no, but thanks for the tip, and he got it. Oh, because I'd done that joke so many times. And how marvellous. James May is a walking punch... Well, not a punchline, he's a feed.
Did he have
he's a feeder as well, apparently. I heard he was a feeder as well.
Paisley shirt and frayed bleached jean on?
He had jean. That is more or less exactly what he had on. I couldn't tell, but there was a hint of cowboy boot.
Oh, really?
Which, they'll get any worse than that. If only I'd had a high-power rifle. Anyway, when me and David Baddiel used to write together, we used to have, because we wrote sketches, we used to have what we called our rent-a-ghost card. So someone would say, well, we could have a thing where Wayne Rooney comes into a room and blah, blah, and say, oh, a bit rent-a-ghost.
Yes, I understand that.
Yeah, and, like, it's a bit too childish and all that. But there is one thing in the writing room which is causing me, which I think is actually endangering my life. I'll come to that in a minute.
Oh, wow.
Frank
Skinner
on Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
So, Jaffa Cakes.
Over in the writing room.
Yeah. What happens is that we started...
Jaffa Cakes, the problem. I thought you were just calling Emily Jaffa Cakes.
No,
So Jaffa
How
Cakes.
dare you?
I don't really have a pet name for Emily. I don't know. I've never done that. But Jaffa Cakes would be all right. But it sounds like you're making
You're going to give me a
sort
carb-based nickname?
Yeah, that's right. That's true. I was thinking today somebody used the word breadwinner, and I thought, that's why Emily's single, isn't it? She doesn't want a breadwinner in the house. Don't bring that stuff in here!
That's a good point.
I'm just mentioning you're single just to tantalise the boys listening.
The texts that we'll get now, using their knights move.
So, I was happily eating Jaffa Cakes thinking, you know, well, there's orange in it and vitamin C.
In the same way that Sunny Delight had vitamin C.
Yeah. What happened to him? But they don't crumb up much either. That's another good thing about them. But I noticed on the packet that they provide 7% of the sugar. One Jaffa Cake provides 7% of the sugar intake that they recommend for a human being. One Jaffa Cake.
For that day?
For that whole...
Yeah.
Oh.
Wow.
7%. So I toyed with the idea of having zero sugar and then having 14 Jaffa Cakes just before I went to bed. As a sort of carrot on the end of a stick. Well, more of an orange, I suppose. But it's quite... That's a lot, isn't it? I'm looking to you as our dietitian.
Thank you. You'd be right to, in this room. That is a lot, Frank.
You may know that Emily is on the WOW diet. Is that what it's called?
It's not wow, it's OMG.
Oh, sorry. I knew it was 3 letters.
No.
Yeah,
6 weeks to OMG.
The GVH diet. It knocks you about a bit, but it's worth it.
Your manager came down to the show last week, and he was a bit of a carb buddy for me.
Yeah.
Like, he looked after me. Do you know he performed an intervention and stopped me eating a sausage?
I saw that.
It was the most touching moment between us. He went, no, don't do it.
Yeah, Emily ordered a sausage and he said, actually, they put quite a lot of meal in sausages. And that's when we left, I looked back over my shoulder and that sausage was still untouched on the plate.
Yeah.
Oh, really? That upsets me. I don't like wasted food.
No.
I thought you were going to say you looked back and John was eating it.
He's just popping it in the top pocket like a new father with a cigar.
No, he's not 6 weeks to OMG, but he's on the diet as well.
That's what it's called, 6 weeks to how many weeks to your OMG?
Well, I think I'm at O. What do you think?
I think you're at OM.
Lovely. If I get to M.
I agree with Frank.
I'm taking the yoga class version. Oh. But Emily was saying that part of the diet, which I find utterly amazing, I'm calling it the balloon section of the diet.
Yeah, you're meant to blow up balloons. It's good for your abdominal muscles, apparently. It's a really good exercise. It's kind of, it's the clown-based section of the diet.
Yeah, and you have to blow up 20 every other day.
Yeah,
is that
20
right?
every other day.
So there's a tip for people at home. And also, it suggests why Kate Middleton has got such a great body, because she comes from a party family.
Oh, of course.
Those girls grew up blowing up balloons. That's why they're so svelte.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
Frank, our lovely listeners have got some views on my OMG diet.
The listenership.
Yes. Well, first there's a question, there's an inquiry, a practical inquiry from 994. Does it have to be 20 separate balloons, or is letting the air out of one balloon allowable?
So that's someone who's going to give it a go, you see.
Yeah.
I think if you blow the same balloon up 20 times every other day, it's going to be pretty easy, because that balloon's going to be a ragged old thing.
How
Does it
dare
do
you?
that, though?
It's going to look
How
like
dare
Cliff
you.
Richard more than 3 months before his calendar.
Ed Bowden has also emailed in, who says, just when you think women might not be mental, you
Is this how Ed Bowden
Yeah,
talks?
this is totally how he speaks.
Okay.
You hear about a diet that involves blowing up 20 balloons a day. Mental old women, aren't we? Honestly. You don't have to be mad to work here, but it helps.
I'm slightly fascinated by the balloon thing, because if you blow up a few balloons, you do, you get the feeling. I mean, it's sort of, you don't have to buy any kit or no trainers.
Yeah.
Well, exactly, and you can do it wherever you are on the tube. No one gives you odd looks, I found. Yeah. People are very
I think
tolerant.
it depends what shape you're after. If you do the globe, okay, but if you do the dachshund.
Oh, I'm not.
Oh, yeah.
No sausage dogs allowed. I can't have sausages, I've told you.
If you blew up a long balloon on the tube just for exercise, there would be kids looking over thinking, I'm going to get a poodle here, and then you just get off the tube. All you do is disappoint passengers that are...
Well, balloon modelling probably means women who've built their fabulous bodies. They're balloon models.
So is the idea that you blow up the balloons for exercise?
Yeah.
Why not just do some exercise? Am I being stupid?
Well done. What? Because just a minute. What other reason would there be to blow up the balloons as part of a diet? Some celebration for every pound that goes?
Well, do you know what else? Because I read recently that a really good exercise for your thighs is to wear really long red shoes. So, I didn't really. I'm just suggesting that this bloke wants you to look like a clown.
I'm all right with that.
Oh, I see.
I think you blow them up and put them on the door. There's two that symbolise either a children's party or someone on the 6 weeks to OMG diet.
Yes.
He's nicked the children's party insignia.
He has.
Except for the cake and the jelly.
He definitely doesn't do that.
No.
Maybe gluten-free.
Hi, can we just... Dan says, hi, Frank, Emily and Alun. I know we're all pedants together. So there's a D there, it's okay. So you won't mind my pointing out that Kate is a duchess rather than a princess. However, if Emily is looking for someone to treat her like a princess...
It's a night's move.
Very good.
It's a late switch. Well,
thanks, Dan.
If she's married to a prince, surely she's a princess as well as a duchess.
I don't think that's how it works.
No, Frank, it doesn't work like that with our
Can you get
people.
me Debrett, Daisy? We'll get to the bottom of this one way or another.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Oh, this is Frank Skinner. I'm on Absolute, and I'm playing to you. No, I can't. Middle-aged man doing that, terrible.
Oh, so
I'm with
Richard
Alan
Madeley.
Cochrane, Emily Dean, and we're talking good, and we're talking clean. You can text us on 81215. That's our scene, you know what I mean. Follow us on Twitter using Frank on Absolute.
What?
Don't shoot. That's cute.
Oh, my God!
Oh, it's so embarrassing. I could feel my hat turning round so the peak was facing the back as I spoke.
You know, there's a bit where we do really funny bits on this show, and Daisy the producer
I meant it used to be.
Daisy the producer immediately scribbles it down for the trailer. I think that's just happened with your little top of the hour rap there.
Oh, very embarrassing.
So I'll look forward to hearing that on Absolute all week.
I find people who rap for a living quite embarrassing, but when like middle-aged men do it.
Can I just say, Frank, that was the audio equivalent of Cliff Richard's calendar.
I think you're right. No, if only I'd practiced for 3 months, wouldn't have been a lot better. But I do feel like slipping into the shadows now and never ever coming out again. So, I don't know if it made any sense, but you can do all those things.
You get the idea.
What we used to do is to give you like fun questions to answer, so that people texted in and we had like a sense of interactivity. Now we just talk.
Well, we could have done that.
Okay.
We could have asked them how much they like Jaffa Cakes.
If there's any Jaffa Cakes theories out there or views, I'd love to hear it.
Well,
can you get a milk chocolate Jaffa Cake? Are they all plain?
I don't believe you
Oh,
can.
Frank, that's a lovely question.
Why don't they go white chocolate Jaffa Cakes then?
Oh, with the orange base centre? Revolting.
Maybe the white with a raspberry would work.
Raspberry?
With a raspberry.
Raspberry?
Is that one of my mispronounced?
You're talking about raspberry cakes, aren't you now?
It's raspberry.
Raspberry.
No, it's too much.
Doesn't
But
sound
why don't
right
why don't they bring out promotional umbrellas that are dark brown on the top and a sort of that sandy sponge colour on the underside?
Oh yeah. You know, Jaffa Cakes often come up in financial discussions when they talk about VAT, because I think...
Do they?
I might be wrong here, but I think there's VAT on biscuits but not on
they're cakes,
or the other way round. And Jaffa Cakes are so nearly biscuits, aren't they?
They get away with it.
And they get away with it because they're cakes.
I think so,
VAT.
Yeah, they're cakes.
I can't remember which way around it is, but you could ask Adrian Childs, because he used to do work in lunch, didn't he? So he would know.
He'd know.
Yeah, he'd know.
Hello,
somebody will text us in.
Hold on, I'll try the phone again. Oh, Adrian, read Jaffa Cakes.
It might be a slightly weird call.
That's how
I'm
people
not saying
start business calls, isn't it?
I'm not saying it won't be a strange call.
Doesn't every business call start re?
Yeah. But, people do that with their friend. This week, in fact, I texted Emily about diesel estate vehicles that I would recommend for hiring.
He did. It was the most Alan Partridge text I've ever received on my phone.
I think I said something like the Mondeo is well regarded, or something like that.
Well, I phoned Pete Doherty this week and began rehab. He thought it was Gareth Gates.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
I don't want to put the telly on because I'm a radio fan, but we've got Sky News on, and there's a long shot of Afghanistan, and there's something on the screen which looks like a giant insect-based insignia, which suggests to me that a supervillain is trying to break through and make a big announcement about something's going on. But there's like a big insect, and no one's referred to it. I'm terrified.
It's been there
It's
for a
the
while.
end of the world.
The end of the world,
But-
Frank.
They can't stop us from laughing, can they?
Or from
We can
texting
stop
in
them from... Oh, go on, Karen.
Jaffa Cakes-based facts.
Excellent.
I've started something here, haven't I?
You really have,
Go on.
Cockerel. Well, we've got 870 Sue. I like that she calls herself Sue 870.
870. It just says Sue. Isn't that the same telegram that Prince William sent to his lawyer?
Sue.
Go on.
She says biscuits go soft when stale, cakes go hard. Jaffas go hard, so they're cakes. That's good.
Well, I'm taking your word for that, Sue.
Well, also
They don't hang
Cold
around
cake.
long enough in my company.
Really, you're going.
I don't bite them. I take it like a lozenge.
Do you go full pelt?
A hot drink, hot drink, and a full Jaffa cake.
They donk
Boom.
well. They donk well because you think the sponge, you think it won't take a donk and it'll collapse, but of course it's got the rubber innards of the orange.
I'm glad you've mentioned the rubber innards because Matt from London has texted, and this is news to me, new information. Did you know they did a lime filling Jaffa cake for Halloween one year?
No,
that sounds.
Should have gone for pumpkin.
I don't exactly.
If they'd have gone for pumpkin, you
though.
could have scratched some of the chocolate off to make a face.
Why is lime spooky?
I suppose it's the green ghoulish type thing.
And 827 says, "Morning all." I like him already.
Yeah.
Jaffa
See a
cakes.
copper. Sounds like a copper. Morning all. Just to let you know, your upstairs windows blowing. Thank you, officer. Can you get a cup of tea? I wish I could, madam, but stuff to do. Anyway, be seeing you.
Keep him peeled.
Wow, you're in so many characters today.
Morning, Jackson. Morning, just getting the Prince's morning papers. Oh, I might leave the papers this morning if I were you. Yes, that's what I thought, Constable. Carry on.
I love the village you inhit in your head.
I don't live there. It's Prince William's little place.
Where's he gone? Okay,
I think he got a village for his birthday.
This copper, 827, morning all, Jaffa cakes are a superfood. Athletes and rowers eat them because their fat-to-carb ratio is exactly 3-1. Now, that's music to my ears.
Yeah, I don't know what it means.
Also sounds like a made-up fact.
You see, I wouldn't be worried about eating so many. I suppose I'm on about 9 a day, and I'm... Wow. I will not go double figures.
4 above what the doctors would recommend.
Frank, that's... okay, let's say 45 calories a Jaffa.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah, I know it's a lot, but if... I mean, I take his point, but if I was an international standard rower or athlete, I probably wouldn't be so worried about it. But I'm not really burning them off by watching the Green Hornet on video.
Frank, Jackie in Liverpool, have you ever eaten the cheaper version, Frank? Oh, I don't like the sound of them.
No, I don't.
Like blue stripe Jaffa cakes or
my mum's Jaffa cakes. Panda Jaffa cakes. There'd be one like that, wouldn't there?
Yeah, they don't sound good.
No, I don't think I didn't know there was such a thing.
So you're going 9 a day? You think on the Jaffa
Do you remember
cake?
the mad Jaffa cake eater who used to be on the adverts?
No.
He used to be a man, I think played by Victor Spinetti, who was in Hard Day's Night.
He's a good actor.
I'm afraid no longer with us. So I'll give you a chance to change the tense on that. Anyway, and he wears a hat, which is like a large Jaffa cake.
Oh, does he?
And
Isn't that Simon Munnery?
And his catchphrase... I think it's Simon Cowell. And, no, his hair looks like a fig roll.
Oh, yeah.
But, and then you used to get the mad Jaffa cake eater, and whenever he saw Jaffa cakes, he'd say, "There's Orangey."
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, he was trying to get a catchphrase,
Which is what I say every time I see Craig Revel Horwood.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
Frank, I think it's...
Emily!
Oh, my good heavens. I think it's time we discussed on this show one of our... He's not quite a friend of the show. His mother is, but Andy Murray had some good news this week. Did you hear about that?
I did hear about it. I was just off to bed, and I put the telly on, and he just won the first set.
Oh,
and then I went to sleep.
Oh, really? You didn't stay and...
No, I'm glad he won, but I don't actually need to witness it.
Oh,
I'm prepared to take the word of the news bulletins.
Mm-hmm.
But good, it's brilliant. And also he had blue trainers on, which on tennis I like to see a nice white plimsoll.
Predominantly white, as the Wimbledon rules are.
That's what I like. But great, it's
that could be
good
taken out of context, that quote. Frank, also, what did disturb me, I looked up to the Friends and Family box. Ivan Lendl there, fine, no problem with that, that's his coach.
I bet he was punching the air, wasn't he, Ivan?
Not much.
Old Ma Murray, absolutely, every right to be there.
Yeah.
Kim,
Brilliant.
absolutely within her rights. Old man Ferguson.
Yeah, Alex Ferguson was
What the hell?
Yeah.
Oh, blast furnace. Why was he there? How depressing if you won the first Grand Slam in 76 years, looked up and saw that
I
face.
think apparently every time the ball was just over the line, his nose lit up. So he was actually part of the organ. And Sean Connery was there as well.
That's right.
Yeah, but he had an old blanket on.
Yeah, he did look like he'd put the dog's blanket on.
He had a blanket on. Wasn't it really
He looked
hot?
a little bit
sort of
Ronald Reagan retirement home. He had like a Panama hat and a blanket over him.
Well, he's, I don't know how old Sean Connery is, but I think...
old.
I don't know if he'll see another strawberry season.
Put it this way, I don't think it's the 3 month before his calendar period.
No.
He's not looking his best.
Can you still get a Sean Connery calendar? I think it comes in corrugated cardboard. No, he's... I'll tell you what he didn't do, though. When I was a young man and used to watch tennis, if people won a game, they used to jump the net.
Oh, yeah.
They used to run and jump the net to shake hands with the opponent in their half of the court.
Yes, Fred Perry style.
We haven't seen...
But I mean, even in the 70s they did it.
Yeah, we haven't seen jumping the net since Becker did it. Mind you, he jumped everything, didn't he? That was part of his problem.
Well, exactly. Yeah.
But he jumped
the net and hit his head on the roof of the broom cupboard. No, but it's a shame that's died out, isn't it?
Yeah, that is...
I noticed in one of the press conferences there was a picture of Kim and Andy. Now, I know I love a bit of detail, but she was holding a Starbucks cup, Kim, and they write your name on
Very
it.
Jimmy Carr.
It said Judy. She must have stolen old Ma Murray's cup.
Yeah.
She was drinking out of old Ma Murray's cup.
Or
Frank.
they both take their coffee exactly the same way and they swapped it and just thought, it doesn't matter, I've already sipped
I
it.
think I'm at home with Emily. She's been drinking out the mom's cup. Next time you see her, she'll be wizened and bitter. Going, come on! That's it. I actually, as I said, I find the mum quite attractive.
But they went out to dinner, Frank.
I do. That's what happens when you get older. You start fancying people like Andy Murray's mum.
Frank, they went out to dinner and spent... His bill came to £4,000. He only had a lemon soda. Old Ma Murray must have been knocking back the champagne.
Apparently the friends were drinking cocktails or something, and Andy Murray had one lemon soda, which isn't even really a drink here, is it? Is that lemonade? Is that what that is?
I suspect if this story is true, and Andy Murray has spent £4,000 on family and friends and only had a lemon soda, he'll probably lose his Scottish citizenship.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Yeah, Andy Murray. It's good. I'm glad he won.
I'm glad he won.
Sorry he didn't jump the net. Personally, if I won, I think I'd pick one ball boy and make them chair me shoulder high around the court. While I wave to the crowd, really struggling, like a fat one. Pick a fat ball boy, really.
What, would you go piggyback?
Yeah, because I can't trust them, the fat ones, to blow up the balloons when they're supposed to.
Absolutely.
So you have to impose exercise upon them.
Can I tell you something that took about, I'd say, 14% of the sheen off the victory for me, was when he ran over to get his watch. Photographs.
But he's
because
sponsored.
I know, but that's what I
Did you
didn't
stay
like.
and watch it?
No, but I saw the highlights the next day, and they showed that bit, and you can see him all panicking, rifling through his sports bag, trying to get the watch.
There's a story attached to that.
Why did he have to get it?
Because he's got a sponsorship with the watch, and so he has to be photographed with the watch.
Oh.
I knew you wouldn't like that, Frank.
Oh, that's
He forgot
terrible.
to put his watch on after the Wimbledon game, and so he had to remember this time. But on the subject of the commercial aspect of Andy Murray's career, one thing that has been bothering me since his win is the tabloids in the UK saying he's set to net £100 million from this. Like, Murray is minted as if that was all part of the plan. Like, oh, OK, I'm going to dedicate my entire life to winning a Grand Slam, and then, ka-ching. I don't think that's what it was.
Well, I would have agreed with
people
you
reading the paper
until I heard the watch anecdote. And now I think that's probably correct.
No, it's just part of his thing, isn't it? He's got to do that, hasn't he?
He hasn't got to. If I was a top tennis player, I would have no sponsorship whatsoever.
You'd wear your
Really?
swatch.
I would get all my stuff off the market.
No change there, then.
You know, we're a fan of Daily Mail comments. There was a Daily Mail comment about him earning £100 million, and somebody put, perhaps he should buy his own bats and balls.
But that is exactly what I'd do. I'd have no branding. I'd bring all my kit out in a nondescript second-hand suitcase. I'd make a real point that I will. I always think about that when I watch the snooker. There'd be nothing on my waistcoat.
Frank, do you know what I like? I like the idea of you in between points, delving in that suitcase like a 70s impressionist.
Yeah,
I love that.
I'd be happy. I wouldn't mind pushing Robinson's lemon barley water.
I don't drink that anymore.
I'm partial to that. No, I do still drink that. But don't send me any, by the way. I can afford it.
Lemon soda.
Don't send it to the poor. That's my advice. Third world. They love a bit of cordial. if they can get the water, they're happy with it. Of course. Otherwise, if you haven't got any water, I mean, you don't want a bottle of Robinson's taunting you from a shelf.
Absolutely.
No, that is terrible.
That's a good point. By the way, I owe you £1.
I have not forgotten that,
and
I didn't want to bring it up.
I have it here. I have it right here. We bet. You bet against.
This is the receiving of the pound. This is the pound. This is the pound. That's me flicking the pound. Thank you so much.
In case you thought he was biting it, like a gold medal winner.
Don't act like it's the abdication or something. It's not that.
I would not bite a coin
deal.
of the realm. I mean, you don't know where they.
Why do you owe him £1?
We bet. Frank bet against Andy Murray winning Wimbledon, and I said I think he might do it. And then I
you said you thought he would.
I did think he would, and I was slightly out by a few months, but I don't want you.
Well, no, he hasn't won Wimbledon. Maybe you think he's won Wimbledon. I can assure you he hasn't.
I knew he'd win a Grand Slam, and now I think he'll win 8.
If you'd have been more upfront now, you went off on holiday afterwards just to try not to bite the pound back. I would have happily gone double or quits with this. You see, then you would have been.
I nearly texted you.
I love a double or quits.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I made Ted quit at the World Wars.
It's like doing a show with Paul Merson and Tony Adams.
Yeah, I'm sorry about this.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
If I could live anywhere in the world, do you know where I'd live?
Where?
Email corner. It's lovely there. I love it. So we've had emails from our many listeners.
The first one I'd like to read out.
Why did everyone look at me when I said many? Like, so are we going with that?
As no one told him.
Yeah, sorry. From our listeners.
This is from David in Nottingham.
Smashing?
Now, you may...
Robin Hood, riding through the glen. Oh, it's a great song.
I did a little part there.
He called a band of outlaws to a tavern on the green. They swore to help the people of the king. They challenged all injustice on the English country scene, but still had plenty of time to sink.
The English country scene, that sounds a bit Mumford & Sons, that.
It does. They had plenty of time to sing, though. I mean, why don't the police do that when they've sorted out all the injustice? Anyway.
Lovely
David from Nottingham.
Politics there.
Sorry.
David from Nottingham. Now, you may recall, just to give you the backstory, the Cockerell was talking last week, Frank, about how he and Mrs. Cockerell had a little bit of a spat because she was on the phone to her dad or something when you were trying to listen to some music in the car.
I was listening to a song that I'd already said, I like this song. And then next thing, turning it down, taking a call.
Quite a lot of residual outrage.
What we're
getting those car rules laminated.
The Cockerell, he runs his car like East Germany. His poor family are oppressed.
Anyway, David from Nottingham, he sympathises. He says, "Hello, Frank, Emily and Alun. Like Alan, my wife also made a phone call interrupting a song I had previously informed her I liked. I was even singing along when she made a phone call to her father, who was in the car following us. In our car, the phone connects through the car.
Wow.
So the song cut out completely.
That's a spectacular car of the future.
What, with Bluetooth?
Yeah.
I do eat in the car. My weakness is KFC, which leaves bits of browning lettuce in the car.
Lettuce for the KFC? Forget about it.
It's falling out of the burger, maybe. Falling out of a chicken burger, is it?
I never touch the burgers. I'll go for the 3-piece.
Oh, dear.
Yeah. I've had a 5-piece in the past. But I was on holiday. To hell with it. I had KFC in Korea.
Did you? How was that?
Not the same. You know, you think that's a universal.
I'll say it's not the same.
The covering.
Globalisation type thing, yeah.
No, it is chicken. But the covering is different.
Really?
And it's much thicker and really chewy. Really quite tough.
Oh.
It's like, if you can imagine eating a bit of roast chicken in a jiffy bag. It's like that. It's really sturdy.
I wouldn't know, because the only thing I'm allowed to eat is the moist toilet wipe that comes with it.
Of course, but you know.
Nice.
And I couldn't find a balloon in Korea.
Frank, David from
You
Nottingham...
can't blow up a lantern. Sorry, carry on.
David from Nottingham ends by saying, Frank, the cup holder is just to the left of the radio. You need to push it in to release it.
Well, he's assuming we drive the same model car.
Well, maybe he knows.
You have said what car you've got.
Yeah.
To the left of the radio.
Yeah.
I'll look for that. Thank you very much. What was the song, by the way?
Salisbury Hill.
Oh, you don't want Salisbury all interrupted by a phone.
No.
Salisbury Hill is Peter Gabriel's song, in case you don't know.
Yeah.
He's up on Salisbury Hill, and he's... Do you know the song? He's
yes, I
approached by
do,
an
yeah.
eagle. He's approached by an eagle who offers to give him a lift home.
Right.
And he declines, and then spends the rest of his life in regret.
Is it his Rime of the Ancient Mariner?
It's a weird thing, and I actually went to Salisbury Hill. Obviously, it's impossible to go there without thinking of it. And when I got to the top of it, there was an eagle rank. So I'm thinking it might actually be a true story.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We're still in email corner, I believe.
Are we still in email corner? Oh, good, because I have another one here from Helen from York. Hi,
Who
Frank.
signs herself Helen of York, I've noticed.
Oh, really? I've got
I think
Helen
it's
from York
the
here.
person who started the Trojan Wars.
Well, exactly, yeah.
Hi, Frank and the team. I just wanted to say thank you. You've been in my ear on the podcast all year while I've been training for the Great North Run.
Oh.
I love runners listening to the show on podcast. I get really excited by that.
Do you?
Yeah, I just like it. I feel like you make a sort of a real connection with people while they're on there.
I don't know, I like him. I like him. I said I don't like him. Oh my God, Miss Jones.
I imagine they listen to us on their Sunday long. That's quite common for runners.
On
They
their
have a
Sunday long?
They have a long run on a Sunday quite often.
Do they?
Yeah, it's a good day for a Sunday long. Isn't
I
it?
sounded so Birmingham then.
Yeah, I
I'll
used
be
to
listening.
have an affair with Janice Long, and I used to call it a Sunday long. And how strange that's become a common.
I wish you were still
parlour.
seeing her. I love borrowing her products.
I'll
Yeah.
be listening to you on the podcast as I'm running the 13.1 miles round Newcastle and wanted you to wish everyone good luck.
She's
Lots
going
of
to
great
actually
charity-
listen to us during the race.
Yeah, so she won't hear this now. I imagine
No.
she's avoiding it like an episode of The Likely Lads.
Okay, so she's listening. Helen, keep
Helen
going,
of
keep
York.
going.
Yeah.
Keep going, Helen.
Perhaps she'll
brilliant.
introduce the fall as she hits the wall.
Not on the podcast, I won't.
Oh, of course, yeah.
So, yeah, that's marvellous, and good luck to everybody in that race. And all the spectators who turn up to cheer, even though the runners are actually listening to podcasts. So you're completely wasting your time.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily, Dean, Alan Cochrane. You can text us on 81215 or follow us on Twitter using Frank on Absolute.
Oh, I liked it an hour ago when you rapped that.
I can't rap every hour. I will never rap again. That is my... I met that vow.
Oh, okay.
I think you should stop rapping when you're... just stop rapping.
Yeah, it's good
I
to have a
think
rule.
we've heard it now, haven't we? Okay.
We know all about your car and your crib. And they're really nice.
I haven't told you
Congratulations.
I haven't told you about my crib. One side of it opens down so you can pass the baby from the bed without having to lift him up too high.
I'd love you to rap about an actual crib. That'd be excellent.
I could easily. I built
Particularly about
it.
the functionality
I
of it.
built it. I can sing about it if I like.
Yeah.
And you could rap about your show and your flow, which is also a popular theme, I find.
My show and my flow.
Yeah.
You're losing me now. What's the flow?
No, that's just always in rapping they talk about
I think
that.
you're thinking of Andy Cap. Is it some of the rhyming slang? Anyway, what was we talking about? Oh,
You've been out and about this week.
I have. I'm going to cough. Brace yourselves
Oh,
across
God.
the nation.
Oh, God.
Sorry. And, yeah, I went to Kew Gardens. Not the snooker hall, the
The gardens.
Is
Yeah,
there
the
a
gardens.
snooker call called?
of course there is.
Oh, good. I'm pleased to
And
hear.
yeah, and it's nice. It's in sort of West London,
Kew.
and you know there's big greenhouses and stuff like that. And I went with a friend of mine. It was a sort of a family day out. We took our baby, he took his baby,
nice.
and he's also got a 3-year-old. So at one point, my mate Phil says to his 3-year-old, he said, right, he's into pirates. He's big into pirates. He gave him a stick and he said, right, go off and be a pirate. Well, of course, I was worried he was going to come back with a middle-aged couple at knife point. But he went away for a bit and we were sitting chatting, and then he came back and I could see he had some bright green in his hand.
The child, or...
The child,
Yeah.
and I thought, oh, what is that? And then I got closer, and he got closer, because it was a parrot.
No.
No.
And I thought,
Frank,
now this
no.
is someone who's picked up an idea and run with it. He's come back with a parrot. I mean, how tame must it be as well, to sit on his hand like that? Then I could see the head was lolling quite a lot on the parrot.
Oh, no.
So, don't worry, he hadn't plucked one out of the air. He'd found a dead parrot. Can you believe that? Go off and be a pirate, and then he found a dead parrot.
Can I just say, that child, I want him on my team. He is the best researcher I've ever met in my life.
He's resourceful.
He's
He
a
is.
high achiever in the 3-year-old
Yes.
pirate player community.
Yeah, he was gouging an eye out when we caught him. And trying to get the bottom half of his leg sawn off with that. No, but it was really, it was astonishing. A bit of a panic went up. Because they carry about 900 diseases, apparently.
Yeah, I would
parrots.
imagine, at least.
That's what they always used to say about parrots when I was a youth. Oh, we don't want to get a parrot, they carry about 900 diseases. Yeah, they did. And there weren't so many diseases in those days, but the parrots pretty well cornered the market. So there was a worry about that, and my friend had to pretend that it was a toy parrot that belonged to someone else, so he couldn't play with it. He didn't want to say dead parrots, he didn't want to bring up the subject of mortality.
And also, that Monty Python
Monty
thing's a bit
Python.
over now.
Well, the Monty Python thing, I felt the pressure of that. I thought,
bet
now
you
hold
did,
on,
Frank.
I'm a British comedian in a public place. There's a dead parrot. I feel I have to do something. I felt terribly
I bet there was
self-conscious.
a bit here that thought, if this becomes brilliant material, I'm not going to like it, because everyone will be thinking of the Monty Python thing.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
The dead
Yeah.
parrot. Oh, Frank Skinner's dead parrot bit. Have you
Yeah,
seen it?
I thought, if anything funny comes out. So I just put my fingers in my ears and went, the way you do it. You know, when the football results are on the news just before match of the day, that was the approach I took, and it worked for me.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
And then he came back with some fork handles. No, I made that bit up. But it's interesting that, I don't know if you... there might be listeners who don't live in the southeast of England who are shocked to hear that parrots are generally flying about. They're not just in the gardens because they're like botanical gardens. There's a lot of them in West London.
No.
Bright green
There
parrots.
aren't.
There are. Loads of them.
Really?
And the story... Well, there's two theories. One that is they were used... they filmed the African Queen. Do you know the African Queen?
I do.
Yeah, he emails me on a regular basis.
Frank.
I mean, it was one night. Shut up about it. But anyway, they filmed the African Queen and they got these parrots and they escaped and bred, and that's why they did. That's one theory. And the other one, my particular favourite, is Jimi Hendrix had two parrots, a male and a female, in the 60s, and he released them in Carnaby Street. And they
that's
flew west and multiplied.
Well, if they were...
You know that biblical saying, fly west and multiply?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so how
Go
amazing.
west, I thought it was. Oh, that's more Old Compton Street.
Yeah. Well, I think they went over Old Compton Street and thought twice. But they, it's amazing to see bright green parrots just in trees on ordinary streets.
So did you make a dead parrot reference then?
Well, I had to hide it, you see. They had to take the child away, and I had to get rid of the parrot. So I put it in a tree, in a cleft.
You were an accessory.
Did you?
I put it in
So you left
in
it balanced?
a cleft in a tree trunk. Well, I hooked its feet on the top, and there was quite a noticeable tail feather sticking out the side of the tree.
Give it a state funeral, why don't you?
I thought I'd give something for the cat to climb at. Yeah, not just leave it on the
It's
floor.
not a dignified end.
So the cats will be struggling. It's just in the hole, tucked in the hole. No, it was a
It
dead
might
creature.
topple off, though. Gravity might just tip it out. And
No, I hooked
Oh,
its
really?
I hooked its feet into a cleft. I wedged its ankles in. Do they have ankles? That's this week's texting. Do parrots have ankles?
But actually, people are texting in whether or not Jaffa Cakes are worthy of VAT or not.
Well, I'm happy to go back into Jaffa Cakes, I will say.
Frank, did you know Capability Brown lost out on a job as a gardener at Kew? And I think they made a big mistake.
Is that right?
That's like not signing the Beatles.
Yeah.
That was in the days before he changed his name, though. It was known as Not All That Good Brown. And that didn't look good on the CV.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We were the parrot thing. I think when I said there were parrots in West London flying free, people thought I was acting the goat.
But I think it's fair to say it's taken off.
Yeah,
excellent.
I think people thought it was a flight of fancy.
Oh, absolutely smashing.
No, I think that's
room
what
for
they
another
thought.
one, everyone.
But there are parrots. We've had missives in from the outside world. You know, people can text us on 81215.
Yeah, they can.
Should they wish.
They don't, but they can.
Oh, no, they do. No, parrots don't have ankles, just knees is one of them.
They have knees.
Apparently so.
They're quite religious.
Do you think they genuflect a lot?
Yeah, you see them. You see them. You see them in Kew Gardens.
Kew Gardens.
I didn't think it was worth repetition.
Very good. And I'm sorry we missed it because we thought you'd said.
I was happy to let it go. There'll be one man in Grimsby who
I was happy to let it go.
Yeah.
Frank, also Amanda has tweeted us.
Amanda.
At Frank on Absolute. She says, Frank is right. I live in Beckenham in South East London. Regularly had parrots in the garden.
You see? I blame Jimi Hendrix. I love when you look at those parrots, I want you to imagine Jimmy in like a floral shirt, maybe a velvet jacket, in Carnaby Street, just throwing them into the air and off they go.
And they were good breeders, so, you know, there is a link, isn't there?
Yeah, he basically started the parrot flock. Jimi Hendrix.
We have had a more less fun version of the parrots. Good morning, all. I heard that the parrots migrated here, and with the weather not being so cold anymore, they decided to stay.
Well, they've been here since the early 60s.
They've been here ages.
They are parakeets, not parrots. Loads in Roundwood Park. They're still coming in.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness me.
Parakeets, parrots. I mean, we're not going to...
Yeah, potato.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They're polymorphous.
Are they?
I just wanted to get the poly suffix into this somewhere.
Well, Alan from Ealing says that they terrorise native birds and that they're evil.
And Alan with a U. That's not common, is it? Me and him, basically.
Yeah,
and Alan Armstrong, the Welsh actor.
And Alan Evans, used to play for Liverpool and Wolverhampton Wanderers and got glassed in a nightclub, I believe, 22 stitches in the face. Could have been more. Could have been more. This has been an interesting link, hasn't it?
Parrots and other people that spell their name with a U.
Parrots and urban violence. How often the two come together?
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
I'll do the last parrot email. This is the last one. I don't want to do any more, but this one's really caught my eye. The green parrots are not parrots, they're parakeets. Blah, 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 blah. But the thing I like about it is that it's from someone called Robin.
Well, that's
got to be the last pun of the show based on parrots, hasn't it? Surely. Anyway.
You can say they're parakeets till you're red in the chest. They're still parrots as far as I'm concerned.
I will probably spend quite a lot of time thinking about this and possibly even Googling it. You know, I'm a big time waster. I'm not the most driven individual in the world, and I think we all know that about me.
You've done well there. Just think what you would have done if you'd been really...
Do you know, I sometimes do.
Yeah.
But I've reached a new low as far as time wasting goes. I was on my way back to Manchester on the train the other day, and I knew that I had some stuff to write. I've got things on, you know.
Oh, yeah, no one's denying that. I think you were on Mock the Week only last week.
I was, yeah.
Obviously, you just turn up and do all that off the cuff, but...
I do, yeah. I was drafted in as a late replacement on that, as it happens. But new low for me as regards time wasting was
Jimmy Carr. Apparently, they said no to cash in hand.
I put off doing work in order to listen to a podcast of a radio programme about procrastination.
Oh,
It's a new law.
That's a grim irony.
It's horrible, isn't it? But it was quite interesting. There was a lot in it that I thought was interesting. Apparently, the writer Douglas Adams used to say, "I love deadlines. I like hearing the whooshing sound as they go by." And that was his thing.
I'm like that with parrots. I met Douglas Adams and made a complete fool of myself. I was introduced.
Did you?
Douglas Adams, you may know, wrote The Hitchhiker's Guide to the
Yes.
Galaxy. And when I was introduced to him, I got completely mixed up and I sang Bright Eyes.
You did not.
I did. I honestly did.
You thought he was the Watership Down writer?
I thought he was Richard Adams who wrote Watership Down.
Frank, yeah, I've never heard this, and I feel ill.
And you know what? He didn't even, laugh about it. And I didn't do it as a
he
joke. It was a
didn't laugh.
genuine mix. I thought he'd be really pleased that I know who he is. And I went for it and I got the wrong Adams.
What was he doing as you were sitting there singing Bright Eyes?
Well, this friend said, this is Frank says this is Richard Adams. I said, oh, Richard Adams, Bright Eyes, but... And he went, no. And... I didn't get it. I thought he was a bit off because I sang the song and he wasn't prepared, but I didn't realise it just nothing to do with him at all.
Was
Yeah,
he
that was
standing there thinking, I'm Douglas.
Yeah, it was that was difficult.
Yeah, well, apparently he had a deadline at one point where he was a habitual liar about, oh yeah, I'm getting on with it, it's nearly done, it's going to be great. And apparently one publisher came to London, hired a hotel and sat in a hotel suite and sat and watched him write the book for 2 weeks.
Okay, that's a bit creepy.
That's
No, I wouldn't like that.
even lower impetus than I've got. But
There's a lot of it about Leonardo
yeah.
da Vinci. He rarely finished anything.
Oh, good.
That's true.
You're absolutely right,
You know, he was a
Frank.
military tactician and stuff like that. He never finished. You say, we build a big groove here, no one will get through, he wouldn't turn up.
No.
He was supposed to do a big statue, and never got round to it. The prince who'd bequeathed it, if that's the word,
It'd be one of the Medicis.
came back for the bronze and made a cannon and some cannonballs out of it. So you're in good company. We all prevaricate. If I think of the hours I've wasted on cheeky girls' Google images, I could have been a contender.
Well, I play Who Wants to Be a Millionaire on the iPhone app.
Do you?
Yes.
Do you?
Yeah, but guess what I've discovered? You two don't know this. You have the option of phoning a friend, and you can choose them. You don't actually phone the friend, obviously, but you have answers.
Oh, so you're playing on a phone and you
Yes.
don't actually phone a friend?
I know.
That seems ridiculous.
But you choose one of the friends, and in order to give you a hint who might be able to help you, it gives you a little biog. I came to one of them. There's a picture of Jeff Lloyd. And Annabelle. Yes, he's one of the phone of friends. But they call him George, a science professor who loves 1960s music. I don't know why he's on it, but he is.
We must investigate that.
Yeah.
He does look like a science professor, and I mean that in the nicest possible way.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Someone's texted stop. I'm assuming that they've got confused between us and some, those regular PPI type texts. Maybe they...
No, I think it could be a driving instructor.
All right.
I'm doing my test. It coincides with this show, so that was my emergency stop.
Either that or it's somebody that thinks they've got a lot of power and they don't like this show.
He might hate. He
I
might
think
hate
it's an
Mumford
old
and
school
Sons.
person trying to send a telegram.
Oh.
Because that's the sort of information that was enclosed in a telegram.
Stop. Very good.
What if
Very good.
it's an old person who's, being attacked? They're trying to get help. They're ignoring it. They press the buzzer. You know the buzzer.
Just didn't have time
Yeah.
to put
Mrs.
stop,
Jones
the
knows
blows
help is on
raining
its
down.
way. I know those.
It could be from a lollipop lady. Anyway,
And here's me thinking I was a time waster. We're going to think of 100 different ways.
by the way, I imagine there's a lot of people who write listening to this show. People who would be novelists and
Yeah.
poets listen to this show.
It's not just long distance runners, is it?
I find
We have actual artists listening to this show.
we do. When I've got something to write, what I use as my motivation, I have a chart above my computer, which is the mortality rates of men in the United Kingdom. It's literally a deadline. and you think, I better get this finished.
Well,
it's good. I'd recommend it.
They did say that on the programme, that people become less dithering as they get older because
I don't
they
find
realise...
that, do you? What about the shaky head? They're not allowed.
They
for
obviously
that?
haven't seen Ian Lavender going into a coffee bar.
I think it's something to do with you realise that you can't be wasting that much time.
No, it's true, though.
As you get older, you think, I can't hang about as much as I used to.
Absolutely.
Honestly, if I could...
That's why I read The Eye now, that newspaper. It's a bit slimmer than the others.
Yeah. It's good, that, isn't it? Yeah. But apparently there's a thing for people that know themselves and they know their time wasters.
Do any of us
really know ourselves? It's
Yeah.
existential debate. Apparently there are computer programs that writers use called stuff like Freedom or like Concentrate or whatever, and you can...
Freedom sounds a bit S&M community.
Yeah, you can say...
I haven't come across it.
I don't want to... I don't want to access the internet for 8 hours or whatever, and it'll say, "Are you sure?" And you put yes, and then that's it. You've then got to
Sadie
concentrate.
Smith uses that. She was saying recently
Really?
to finish her novel. Yeah.
This has gone extremely literary. Can I bring the whole thing down? Oh, go on, carry on.
Well, apparently it's all based on Ulysses at the Mast, which was one of the first Twitter addresses, and is also Ulysses at the Mast. He got them to tie him to the mast.
So he wanted to hear the fabulous voices of the sirens, but
He didn't want to be
respond.
tempted. He didn't want to do all. So it's to resist temptation.
I've tried it with Jaffa Cakes.
Have you? You got them to tie you up, or just put you in a muzzle?
I broke some 2.5-inch cable to get to them. Anyway, look, traffic news, late traffic news.
Yeah.
Lambeth Bridge is closed
Oh.
in London.
Right.
And how do I know that?
Are you doing the traffic news?
I'm doing the traffic. Because it's very near to where I live, and they're filming on there today.
Frank.
Fast and Furious 6.
No way.
Vin Diesel.
I didn't get that close to the vehicles.
He's not a car kind of guy, are you?
But it was quite exciting today. There was some Russian traffic signs when I left the flat this morning.
Were they pointing towards Chelsea?
They were, yeah. And they had, what they've done is they've turned Lambeth Bridge into a bridge in Moscow.
Really?
For the film.
Frank, how
and there's
exciting.
some Russian vehicles involved in a bit of a crash. If you want to go down there today and have a look at a big film being made, just do it. Lots of guys there in high-vis jackets looking at passers-by in a kind of we're in the film industry.
Oh, I hate those ones. Puffer jackets.
Yeah, and then I walked past, they didn't look quite so grand, if you know what I'm saying. Oh, well, here comes a borderline national treasure. Now we're not so special. But
Did they say, Frank, I hate it when they say absolute quiet. Oh, I can't bear that.
Absolute quiet, of course, is what I aim for on this show.
No, that's a new station, Frank. They're launching it next week.
It's just silence, yeah.
Meditation station.
John Cage.
A lot of John Cage. The royalties he'll be getting from that.
So it's the bridge outside my house is basically Moscow.
Oh.
The cleaner refused to come, so she wouldn't go anywhere near in case they has to see her papers. Mind you, she does favour a day glow, full face balaclava, so it wouldn't be good at the moment.
Frank, I'd love it if you were an extra. That would be great. Wear your red hoodie. It'll be like Don't Look Now.
Yeah, I don't think you can just turn up.
Oh, can't you?
No.
Well, I'm not allowed to anyway because I've got an equity card. So my
rules
agent,
about such things.
I'm afraid I'm not allowed to do extra work.
Do you still pay your dues?
We'll discuss that later.
Okay.
I don't think I do.
What, your equity subs? Is that what you mean?
I think I do.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, the direct debit never ran out on my Barclays Super Saver account, so I presume it's still going out.
That's I left a long time ago.
Can I just ask, I haven't seen the other 5 Fast and Furiouses. Do you think that's going to mean that I won't enjoy Fast and Furious 6 when they complete?
Well, I'll be honest with you, I haven't either. But now, when anything happens, even ever so slightly involves you in anything, like when I went down to a student protest in the 1970s, and we went to Downing Street, and James Callaghan, the current Prime Minister, as a Labour Prime Minister, came out, and he waved, and I waved back, and ever since then I voted Labour. That was it. That was it for me. So now I think I'm going to watch the entire franchise from 1 to 6 because I feel like they're my people.
Yeah, you're involved.
Yeah, I feel like it's a little bit of me in there. It's my bridge. My bridge is not visible, can I make that absolutely clear? Well, I think there's a slight flash of it in the dancing scene, in the Russian dancing
Those
scene.
long lenses are good now, aren't they?
But it was... it's exciting to see. They're all out there.
Right. Well, I had the Great Rock and Roll Swindle filmed at my house when I was a child.
At your house?
Yes,
Wow.
yes. Punks on my bed and all sorts.
Wow.
My sister cried because she was scared of Sid Vicious.
Understandably, I would think.
Which scene from the Great Rock and Roll Swindle?
Well, it's really weird because it was a Gothic gated village that I lived in, a gated community.
Right.
And I'll have
You
to show
lived
you.
in a Gothic gated community?
Yes. It was
Okay.
like a Tim Burton film that I lived in, essentially. But there's a scene, there's a singing lesson going on with a music teacher.
Yeah.
And they're clambering outside. Anyway, that's I'll show it to you
I wonder
afterwards.
if it was Tona de Brett.
Yes, it was.
Oh, well,
She
I
was
had a
there.
singing lesson from her
Oh,
once.
my, we'll
Someone
talk.
said to me, "You're going to sing a lesson with Tona de Brett. She's the biggest name dropper you'll ever meet in your life." I said, "Really?" And I got there, and I couldn't get the door open. And she came to the door and said, "Oh, I'm terribly sorry. That door's never been the same since Benny Hill used it as a sketch. I hadn't got off the step." Anyway, look, enough of this nonsense. Mark Crossley's coming up next. And if the good Lord spares us and the creeks don't rise, we'll be back again this time next week. Thank you so much for listening. We love you all.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.